The airlock groaned and hissed as it finally cycled open. Exhaling a stale, metallic breath, the last remnant of a satellite forgotten by time, left adrift and rot in the void. Dr. Lina Vasquez hesitated on the threshold, heart hammering against the inside of her suit. Her helmet lights sliced through the darkness, their sharp beams illuminating coils of frozen vapor and catching on specks of dust that danced like lost souls. Each step forward crunched against the deck plates, the sound jarring in the oppressive hush. The silence was so complete it pressed against Lina's ears, as if the entire station itself were holding its breath. Noel, ever methodical even in the face of the unknown, followed at her shoulder. Their gloved fingers trailed across the pitted metal of the bulkhead, reading every dent, every scorch mark, every silent story written in rust and neglect. The corridor ahead yawned before them, a mausoleum of dead terminals, glass shattered and warped, each screen flickering with the ghost of static that hinted at the life they once held. Above the darkness, shadows thickened and writhed, oil black and clinging, as if reluctant to let new light trespass. Lina's boot crunched over brittle plastic, making her jump. She glanced down and saw the splintered remains of a datapad, its surface spiderwebbed with frantic, overlapping handwriting. She didn't need to read the words to know what it said. It's the phrase it's rewriting us. It already burned itself into her mind. Impossible to forget. Impossible to ignore. A low, shuddering hum vibrated through the deck, sending shivers up Lina's spine. The sound felt oddly biological, like the rasp of a throat before a confession. The satellite's ancient speakers stuttered, crackling with static. Lina thought it was just interference until the voices began. At first it was the calm, measured tone of the original signal, speaking in that impossible language that had haunted their dreams. But soon, new voices slipped beneath it, echoes of the dead crew, their words overlapping, contradicting, harmonizing. The message was alive, shifting, weaving together the past and the present, in a tapestry of panic and pleading. This wasn't repetition, it was transformation. Noel stopped dead, breath fogging the visor. "That's not a loop," they whispered, voice raw. "It's learning." Lina's stomach clenched as the dead voices bled into the signal, their panic warping the original cadence. The words were no longer just spliced together. They were responding, adapting, live and hungry. A new phrase twisted into existence, slicing through the chaos with chilling clarity. "You should not have come here." Above them, the corridor lights stuttered, their feeble illumination warping the walls. For the briefest instant, Lina caught sight of something's shapes moving in the corners. Human forms, almost but wrong, stretched, bent, as if sketched by a trembling hand. Blinked, and the vision vanished. The speakers erupted in a fresh wave of white noise, building, gathering force. The whispers became screams, raw, ragged, desperate. Noel's hands moved in a blur, racing across their wrist display to try and capture the audio.
But the waveforms danced and twisted, writhing into unreadable chaos.
"It's corrupting the file in real time," they said through clenched teeth. "Whatever this thing is, it doesn't want to be remembered." Lina's head throbbed with pain as the voices bored into her mind, uncoiling memories she didn't know she had. The language inside the signal began to unravel, each word slicing into her like a knife. A battered console ahead sparked and stuttered to life. Symbols spilled across the screen, symbols she recognized from her nightmares, glowing and pulsing in rhythm with her pulse. The voices in the speakers flickered in and out, patching themselves together, until suddenly Lina heard her own name whispered in the dead crew's voices, repeated in perfect unison. "Lina." The temperature dropped in an instant. Lina's breath fogged the inside of her visor, her limbs growing numb with cold and dread. Nell gripped her arm, holding tight enough to bruise even through the layers of the suit. "We need to go now." But behind them, the corridor had changed. Where there had been a pathway, there was now a black wall of shadow, so dense and impenetrable it seemed to swallow light whole. There was no choice but to go forward, toward the source of the signal and the deep, terrible heart of the satellite. The metal walls groaned around them, buckling as if something titanic was closing its fist. Lina's vision blurred. The voices pressed in on all sides, now inside her head, whispering secrets she wasn't meant to know. The symbols on the monitor twisted, morphing into a face, her face. But monstrous eyes like bottomless pits, a mouth split too wide in a rictus grin. Noel slammed a gloved hand against the console. The screen shattered, and the cacophony of voices cut out mid-scream, leaving a silence so total it was deafening. Lina allowed herself to hope it was over. Then the speakers rasped to life again. A single word delivered in her own voice cut through the darkness. Run, behind them. The darkness moved. The wave, a living thing, rushing forward. Lina didn't look back. She ran, Null thundering at her heels, their boots clanging against the grates as the corridor twisted and warped, breathing around them like the chest of a dying beast. The exit was gone. In its place, only more shadow, more writhing forms pressing in. Null skidded to a halt, yanking open a maintenance panel. Here they shoved Lina inside, following her into the tight crawl space, just as the blackness lunged. The panel slammed shut behind them, the metal warping inward as something hammered from the other side. Lina's pulse pounded, each breath sharp and shallow. The crawl space was stifling, walls pressing in, but it was real. For now, the voices returned, muffled and insistent, seeping through the metal. They no longer spoke in the alien tongue. They spoke English, her thoughts, her memories, her fears. The signal was using her life, her past, to carve its way deeper. It wasn't just rewriting the satellite. It was rewriting them. Null's fingers dug into her shoulder. Focus. Don't listen. But the voices were inescapable, stitching themselves into her consciousness. The crawl space seemed endless, its emergency lights dim and flickering like distant stars. Somewhere in the darkness, something laughed a sound, wet, guttural, utterly inhuman. Lina crawled faster, heart hammering, hands slick with sweat. The voices rose in a storm of regret, secrets, forgotten moments. Then abruptly, all fell silent. The passage ended at a hatch. Noel forced it open, and cold, pure air swept in real air, a lifeline. They tumbled out into the shuttle bay, the hatch slamming behind them. For a long time, they lay there, gasping, overwhelmed by their own breath and the relentless drum of their hearts. The cum crackled, and the voices returned, soft, almost comforting. "You can't outrun us," they whispered. "We're already in your bones." Lina looked down. Her wrist display glowed with a new message. A single symbol, pulsing with faint, sickly light, the same mark etched into the dead crew's final moments. Noel pulled himself upright, face pale and grim. "You have to burn it, all of it, before this spreads." Lina nodded, her fingers moving toward the shuttle's controls, but dread gnawed at her. It was already too late. The symbol blinked once, twice, and then faded to static. The damage was done. The signal had found new hosts and it wasn't letting go.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to support our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Let's grow this amazing community together.